Hey everybody, we're going to start taking a closer look at the battleground states for the upcoming election. We're going to look at the shifts over the past few elections to see how we got here. And right here you can see all the red and blue shifts in motion. The left side is 2012 to 16, and there's a lot of red, especially in the Midwest and the Rust Belt. If you look at the right side, those are the changes from 2016 to 20, and that has very little red on it. There's a ton of blue, especially in the key swing states. So we're going to look at the top 7 states that had the closest margin back in 2020. And we're going to start with the widest margin. That was actually in Michigan. It's a very important state. So let's go back to 2012 to see how things got started. For this was the Obama re-election. He won Michigan very easily by about 9.5 points. There's really nothing competitive about this state whatsoever. The margin was reduced from 2008, but this was not on the radar for Romney, although he did get more than 44.5% of the vote. If we go in a little closer on this county map, we can see that even though Obama won by almost double digits, there's still a lot of red counties on here. But the problem for Romney is those counties that are red are not at all overwhelming. Most of them are under 60% of the vote. The darker ones do go over 60, and most of those don't have a ton of population in them. This was a key state in the Democrats' blue wall. It almost seemed like there was no way it was going to be able to fall. So let's go to 2016. Here's the same county map, and the thing that jumps out right away is all the dark red. Now, Trump did do better than Romney here, but it wasn't overwhelming. He got 47.3% of the vote. With third-party vote, Hillary Clinton got 47. But look at these counties. Many of them Trump is now hitting in the mid to high 60s. There's still going to be some solid blue counties like Wayne, but all that suburban to rural red vote, that was enough to put Trump just over the line. So then what happened 4 years later in 2020? Here's the 2020 map, and what do we see this time? Still a lot of red counties, but they're not as red as they were 4 years earlier. Trump actually did improve his performance again. He did about a half a point better. The only problem is without that third-party vote, Biden filled that void a lot better, and that gave him almost a 3-point lead in the state. So it was still close, but in addition to the reduced amount of dark red counties, there's also a few more blue counties sprinkled in. Now let's switch over to Ballotpedia and compare some of these margins. Well, we can start in Wayne County. That has Detroit. Looking back in 2012, Obama hit 73%. Romney was all the way down to 26. And then in the next two elections, we could see that Trump clearly did better than Mitt Romney. It's not a huge increase, but when you're talking about a high population county, a 1 or 2 point improvement could make all the difference. Now, the counties that surround Wayne, like Macomb and Oakland, those are going to be more suburban, and they're also going to be important for both sides. However, let's head out west a little bit and take a look at Kent County. That has Grand Rapids. Here, if we go back to 2012 and see what Romney did, he won it by about 7.5 points. But fast forward to 2020, the margins have pretty much flipped. Although Trump did narrowly carry it in 2016, he lost the county by about 6 points 4 years later. Trump cannot win the state if he's going to do those kinds of margins in a medium-sized county. How about if we go up to Grand Traverse County? Here's one where Romney won it by almost 12 points in 2012. Trump also won it by 12 in 16. But in 2020, the margin for Trump was all the way down to just 3 points. And it's kind of a similar story in a lot of these red counties. Not all the margins were reduced for Trump, but even right next door in Antrim County, last time Trump did 1 point worse than he did in 2016, but Biden improved by almost 5 points without that third-party vote. If we go up to the Upper Peninsula, the only blue county up here is Marquette. Trump got the margin to 4 points in 16, but Biden got the margin up to 11 in 2020. If you add all this up, there was just too much of a shift across most of the counties that resulted in a slight reduction in support for Trump or a clear increase in support for Biden, again without significant third parties. And we can easily see where that third-party support went on this table. If we focus right here, comparing 2016 to 2020, the third-party support dropped by 4%. Of that 4%, Biden gained 3.5%, and Trump only gained a half a point. So that's a net boost of 3% toward Biden. It doesn't mean that's how it's going to go every time, but that's at least what happened with the third parties comparing 16 to 20. If you want an even more detailed view, you can take a look at the precinct level here. This is 2016, and you could hover over any of the individual precincts. Even back in 2016 where Trump won the state, if you focus on an area like Detroit, you're going to see Hillary Clinton getting close to 100% of the vote in these extremely blue areas. It gets lighter blue and then eventually shifts to red the farther out you go, but it's clear in all the medium-sized cities of Saginaw, Flint, Lansing, Kalamazoo, and Grand Rapids, those are blue areas, and the margin is going to be key. If Trump is able to chip away by 2 or 3%, that could easily add up and be what he needs to win. Of course, on on the flip side, Biden would be looking to get the turnout in those extremely blue areas that voted Democrat with well over 90%. Now, if we pull back out, we can also pull the same thing up for 2020. Some of the areas are not filled in as they don't have enough data, but if you zoom in again, you will get a precinct level view. The thing to look at is going to be the changes from 2016, and you can see there's definitely a lot more blue on this map. Those are the places that shifted toward Biden. Again, Trump has a smattering of red, but most of those places have a much smaller population. If you want a different way to look at it, here are the arrows of how every county shifted between 2016 and 2020. Again, there's a lot more blue. This time, if you click on any of the arrows, you can get a detailed view of that county. Let's take another look at Grand Traverse, and this shows you that both Trump and Biden gained votes between 2016 and 20, but this again shows you the third-party vote has fallen off. That's minus more than 2,000 votes this time, and that comes out to a 4.5% reduction, and this really shows you how it's a big swing toward the left. It's not exclusively from the third-party vote, but Biden did gain 7% and Trump lost 2.5%. And with the reduction in third-party vote, Biden was the clear beneficiary. So if you're Trump, these are red enough counties to where he would have to win it by a much wider margin. So the other thing that's key is going to be turnout. Here's the national map that shows you the turnout. If we pull in a little bit closer on Michigan, and it's clear that between 16 and 20, the turnout has dramatically increased. And if you hover over any of these individual counties, you can see by just how much it increased. So there's a lot you could say about Michigan. You could talk about the demographics and the turnout amongst each demographic. But the last thing we're going to take a look at is the polling. So for that, we go back to Wikipedia. So here's the 2020 polls. And in the aggregate, the average of all the polls showed Biden with about a 6-point lead. He won it by only 2.8. So that's an underestimation for Trump by about 3 points. And you could look at these individual polls. Some of them are closer than others, but some of them do have Biden up by a much wider margin. And on the other end, you do have some like Trafalgar that did have Trump ahead by 2. I think Trafalgar is going to have to make some changes to their model. They just overestimated the Republicans too much that year. But at the same time, Trump has been underestimated overall in back-to-back elections in this state. Plus, if we have Kennedy and another 2 or 3 candidates in this race, it is going to be extra hard to anticipate the turnout and the margins. So what is the conclusion here? Well, this state is going to be up for grabs for both sides. The turnout is going to be key. Biden's got to get it up in Wayne County, while Trump really has to turn it up in those less populated counties where last time maybe he only won with 55 to 65% of the vote. He's got to hit 60, 65, maybe even 70% in some of these counties. Now, if it is a red-leaning environment, Trump could make gains in Wayne County. That's a scenario where he has more than he needs to get from the red counties, but I'm sure there's going to be a ton of spending, campaign stops, rallies. It's going to be a significant battleground, and we'll look at all the current polls for this election in the future, but right now, if I had to pick, I would say it's going to be a little bit more of an uphill climb for Trump. Democrats have had success for governor in the U.S. House and the statewide elections recently, and Trump spent a lot of time here in 2020 while Biden wasn't doing any significant campaigning. So this state has come a long way from Obama winning it twice by massive margins. But is the blue wall going to be rebuilt, or is this going to be a perennial swing state that ends up trending redder? I don't have the answers, but I know there's people on both sides that say one side or the other can or cannot win. I'm saying they both can win, and it's far too early to make a call, but that's an overview of the key battleground of Michigan. So let me know in the comments, what do you think about this state? Can you believe it was that blue not that long ago? Is the makeup of this state better for Biden or Trump? Which way is it going to trend? Let me know down below. On your way out, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.